This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan, with your host, Nancy Smitham, and get the latest from Alpena Community College with Dr. Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Nancy Smitham. My first guest today is Carlene Shakutsky from Partners in Prevention. Good morning, Carlene.
Good morning, Nancy.
Thank you so much for being here today, and I know you always have many, many things to talk about, so start us out.
Well, we do. One of the first things is that our March Power of Parenting has to be rescheduled due to a closure of activities at the school that night at Thunder Bay Junior High. So on the second Tuesday of April, we're going to have the Just Kidding with Mary Schulk, and it's looking at teasing, kidding, bullying. What is it? Is there a difference? And there certainly is a difference, and she's going to go over that and talk about how to recognize when it's bullying and what to do, and how to help your children and being able to deal with teasing as well. So that's coming up. We can have people call our office 356-2880 to register for that. It's free. It's sponsored by the Parenting Awareness Team, and there's free childcare. So we have a few extra weeks to recruit some people, so we hope that they will call to take that in. Bullying is a really current topic, and it gets a lot of press, but do we really define it? Do we really know? Sometimes our own experience is informing us, and maybe we need to broaden that a little bit with some information.
And you know, I've heard some pretty hurtful things said, followed by "just kidding."
Absolutely, that's why we called it that.
That's perfect. And you know, when the things that I read in the free presses and the papers and the magazines and the books about bullying, it goes on every day in the schools and in the workplace, but people just aren't recognizing it, or it's getting past some people. I don't know what the problem is, but it's really frightening. And
really the definition, and people can come to the workshop to learn about that, comes to motivation of the perpetrator.
Okay.
You know, what is their motivation? So then following that, on the third Tuesday of April, there will be a gut behavior.
Okay.
Kind of looking at what's normal or typical for a child. What do you do when that typical child behavior involves a little bit of rebellion and challenge to parents? And we've got a husband and wife local expert team, Lori Clark, who's an early childhood educator, and her husband Brian Clark, who's a counselor and is now working as a school success worker with NEMSCA. And they're going to team up, and so really they'll be able to cover from birth to teenage years. So that one will be coming up, and again, free childcare and registration by calling our office. So those are a couple of parenting things that we have going on.
And you know, the normal behavior thing, because I hear parents talk and I see things and I think, whoa, that's not normal behavior. And the parents think it is because that's all they know from their child. So that's wonderful. I'm glad those resources are out there.
Yeah, we like to use the word typical instead of normal. I had a trainer tell me one time that, or a psychiatrist who works with trauma in the state, say, normal is a setting on the washing machine.
Very good.
And it kind of went over my head, and I thought about it. Oh, okay. We talk about things that are typical.
Okay.
Because normal has a lot of baggage attached to it sometimes.
Yes, it
so
does.
Typical behavior is what we're looking at.
So what else?
Well, another thing that we're active in right now, and I'd like to make an offer to people if they would like to know more about adverse childhood experiences, the biological impact of those, and behavioral impact, and how to build resilience in ourselves as adults who may have had some experiences before the age of 18 that have kind of shaped and molded our reactions and our temperament, and as well as for parents who are raising children. We can come and do presentations of an hour to 2 hours if organizations are looking for training.
Okay.
This is part of the Michigan ACE initiative. And I took part in a master trainer course class. They are training cohorts in the regions of the state. So you'll be hearing more about that as time goes on, because we've just been informed we've gotten some financial resources through a grant to be able to do more. But we want to spread that information, just blanket the community with the information, because there's a lot you can do. And this is one situation where instead of saying, there are problems, but there's nothing you can do. There's a lot we can do, and the research is now coming out, getting into practice that is really scientifically based, and there's a lot we can do to improve life for the next generation of kids. So that's what I'm looking forward to in terms of prevention. And then in May, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we're partnering with Northeast Michigan Community Mental Health. We'll be doing some suicide prevention courses, Safe Talk. We'll be doing some mental health first aid, youth mental health first aid for those who work with children, and adult mental health first aid for everyone, because at least half of the people over a lifetime will experience some type of mental illness or behavioral challenge, and there's a lot we can do there too. You know, the most recent shooting, and the cry goes up, mental health, mental health, mental health. There's a lot we as individual people, as family members and organizations, employers and employees can do with those we come in contact with, to know the signs of somebody experiencing a challenge, to know a plan for helping them get to help, for that first aid, like Red Cross first aid. You come on a scene of somebody that's just fallen off a bicycle. Well, you don't diagnose them, you don't try to treat them, but you do know some basic things that have to be done to keep them safe until help arrives. That's the same thing that mental health first aid does. So we'll be having some scheduling several of those, and probably having a community discussion around mental health as well.
You know, I think everyone at one point in their life, as you said, suffers from anxiety or depression or something, and just to have someone out in the community that maybe can recognize that can change a whole bunch of stuff in that person's lives, and possibly a bunch of other people's lives also.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And Northeast Michigan Community Mental Health are experts at recognizing those signs and getting people the help they need.
And they partner with us because we are actually their community outreach, because we're well suited to do training. Their people are treatment folks, they're clinicians. They need to stay and work with their caseloads, and so they contract with us, and it works out really well.
And so now if someone wants more information on any of these programs or to pre-register, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Just call our office. Our regular number is 989-356-2880, and our toll-free is 1-800-354-2880.
Thank you so much for being here,
Thank you.
And thank you and your team for all the wonderful things you do in our community.
You're welcome.
I'll be right back with some information from Hope Shores Alliance following these messages. Hi, welcome back. My last guest today is Janine Kultz from Hope Shores Alliance. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Nancy.
Thanks for being here. We want to tell everyone about Domestic Sexual Assault Awareness Month is the month of April.
That's correct. It's shortened SAM. It's Sexual Assault Awareness Month. It's a national campaign where we recognize sexual assault survivors. We honor them, and we always try to have a theme. And this year's theme is Have Your Voice Be Heard. So what we're doing is we're encouraging survivors to tell their stories, and we're kind of saying, as a community, we are going to listen to you, we are here for you, and we will support you. So it's a very exciting, empowering theme this year.
It would be. So what are some of the dynamics of sexual assault?
Well, some of the dynamics of sexual assault, they're a little bit different than, as you had started with, domestic violence, which we're very known for. Sexual assault has those same power and control dynamics, which can look very different depending on the relationship. So people are sexual assaulted traditionally by somebody that they know. Either they are currently in a relationship, or somebody more in their inner circle, somebody they're just getting to know, first date scenarios like that. Where sexual assault becomes so difficult for, I think, some of us to be supportive is it can be very confusing. I think as a community we can all agree that we don't accept sexual assault in our community. We will not tolerate that. But we do seem to kind of have an idea that sexual assault is a perpetrator hiding in the bushes that is waiting to attack a jogger.
Yes.
So even as we educate ourselves and learn better, it is very difficult. And it's just a fact that just like domestic violence, perpetrators come in all different packages. It's the same for sexual assault. So there are people who we respect, who have amazing talents and gifts, but they're also assailants. They
Yes.
sexually assault people. So what we're vowing to do is, if somebody discloses, then we are going to listen to you. I think so many of our counties have amazing prosecutors that are going
Yes.
to not just listen to survivors, but build cases that keep the entire community safe.
I just read in the Detroit Free Press today about a woman who, in the Detroit area, who was a victim of sexual assault, went to the hospital to get the rape kit. They had no clue how to do it, so she's dealing with what she had just gone through, and the nurse there didn't have a clue how to administer anything. And so I thought, oh my gosh, how horrible to, make yourself get there and do it and not have the training. But we have the training here is in our communities.
We have, we call it the Sexual Assault Response Team, SART. It is the 2 hospitals in our county, which would be in Tawas and Alpena, respectively. What happens is, whether it be law enforcement, the hospital itself, or Hope Shores Alliance, we're all committed to helping survivors of sexual assault. So when one of us gets the call that somebody's been assaulted, we call the others, so that Hope Shores Alliance is there to provide advocacy, and that's everything from supporting survivors, explaining their rights as victims, to making sure that they don't leave the hospital without clothing, because so often that is collected by law enforcement. We're working really hard so that no matter who the nurse or doctor is, that they feel comfortable. We're having trainings, and that's really just a collaborative effort. That's not just Hope Shores Alliance, that's prosecutors who are going to these meetings, the hospital who is helping to provide the trainings and making those mandatory. What's so exciting is how much change, how different things are, and really just, this Sexual Assault Awareness Month, we had people coming to us saying, what can we do?
Wow.
So that means a clothesline project in Presqu'île, as well as in Alpena. I think something like 17 libraries in all 5 of our counties are going to be hosting board displays that talk about Hope Shores Alliance, sexual assault, what we can do to help, and really a way to say, supporters, we hear you, we believe you, we're here for you.
And something that's giving a lot of credence to it is the Me Too movement.
Oh my.
When you see the celebrities and the stars and the people that we've all looked up to for years and find out what they've been through in their lifetime, and they finally said enough is enough, and they're talking about it, to let the mother, the housewife, the high school student, let them say, hey, this is not right, and I can, me too, I can say something too.
And it's kind of shifting the paradigm of, there is no black and white, this is what violence looks like. It's going to look different. So I think it's done an amazing job of people going, now that I look back, I didn't think it was so bad because it was happening to everybody.
Yes.
But it was violence. It's causing some really amazing conversations, and we're even seeing some legislators that could back this up. I know, speaking to young people, there are questions about what is consent. Is what I'm doing okay? I think it's a really positive thing when we have these conversations, these very difficult conversations, and quite honestly, anything involving sexuality, it can be taboo.
Yes.
So to talk about what's not normal, what is violence, to add that in there, we tend to shut down. And the problem is, violent offenders know that this is the case. It's what makes so many of us vulnerable, especially children. If we're not making it clear that we will listen to your voice, if you tell us, we will receive that disclosure, we will believe you, and we will act accordingly.
Now, you have wonderful volunteers, but you always have a need for more volunteers.
Absolutely.
So you would bring them in and train them.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I myself, we have, I think we break it down into 5 pieces: domestic violence, sexual assault, intersectionality, so that when somebody comes on board to Hope Shores Alliance, we treat everybody as if they are the face of the organization.
Great.
So, and volunteering looks very different for different people. It's important important that all of the volunteers we have look like survivors, which means they look like everybody in our community.
Yes.
So whatever your talents are, please call our 800 number, get on board with our Facebook at Hope Shores Alliance, see all of the things that we'll be doing for the month of April, and get in contact with us. The more volunteers, the more we're able to do. And I think from the first time I had the pleasure of sitting with you, it's just incredible how these SAM events just keep getting bigger and bigger because the community is so excited for it.
Well, and when I think of having an organization like Hope Shores Alliance behind a victim, you know, how wonderful, because you start with, you know, with talking to someone, a professional, and going through the court system, everything. You're there with them every step of the way, ensuring that they're the person in the front line and that they're being taken care of.
Absolutely, and recently, unfortunately, there have been a good deal of children who've been sexually assaulted in our communities, and that's terrible. But the same with every sexual assault, it does tend to be a ripple effect. The one person may have physically been perpetrated upon, however, it touches everybody. The parents who felt like they should have done more to protect, siblings who may feel jealous because look at all this attention you're getting. We're able to really work with the family so that there's an advocate with the person going to court, and there's an advocate with the family. The free counseling, housing, unfortunately, is something that people lose when they speak up. It's why many people stay silent. Really, to rid yourself of violence, sometimes it means walking away from everything.
It does.
That's a tall order. That's why it's so amazing to work for Hope Shores Alliance, where we do look at people as whole, complete individuals who obviously live in homes, work at jobs, go to school, have hopes and dreams, and we're right there with them. They're the ones driving the bus. We're just asking, well, if you turn here, here's what the stop might look like.
Okay, we're out of time. Give me a phone number one more time.
Okay, our phone number is 1-800-396-9129.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please stay tuned for Dr. Don McMaster following these messages.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Dr. Don McMaster, president of Alpena Community College, and I'm pleased to have as our guest this morning Shelly Hance, ACC softball coach.
Hello, thank you.
Pleased to have you with us.
Thanks.
So tell us about the team. You know, I know you feel very positive about it, and how are things looking?
I do. We have a great group of girls this year. I can't tell you the passion and the camaraderie that they've built already is incredible, and that as a coach is extremely fun to see because, you know, a lot of times it's not just about the talent, but the work ethic and the way they play together that can make a huge difference in how you approach the season, each game. And we've had an incredible balance of good character all across the board. So they blend well together, they play well together already, and they're feeding off each other. So I'm really excited.
Well put. Yes, I agree with your view of the importance of all those traits that you referenced. I saw on our website, you folks had a southern trip, and it looked like you might have been getting some sun and a little bit of beach time worked in.
We did. We got a little bit spoiled maybe. However, you know, we did a lot of fundraising before that.
Oh, you did.
And the girls worked hard, so we definitely earned it. You know, and they get to enjoy the sunshine a little bit. I can't say that it was too much because that time of year in South Carolina, still maybe 50s, but to us, 50 was shorts and a t-shirt. So we definitely pulled the tourist characterization off well. When people ask where we're from, they're like, where? So, but then we kind of showed them on our hand, as most people do. And it really was a great time. We were housed in a hotel with all the other teams. There were 89 teams that were down there.
Wow.
And the ambiance or the whole experience is just incredible for these kids. And being able to play outside, because as you know up here, we can't play outside very often, and we've yet to get outside to practice. So it was good to see that all of our fundamental work and all of our fall ball work and our conditioning throughout the year came to fruition when we got outside and jumped out right away and had to win our very first game. So, you know, that itself kind of sparked everything for the trip, and we ended up going 3-5.
Wonderful.
Down there. So to get a couple wins kind of gives them the sense of, okay, we can do it.
Yeah.
And they just came alive, and we had such an incredible bonding experience. Again, we were housed right on the beach, so we did some stuff out on the beach too, and the girls actually stay in a suite together. So they stay in a 3-bedroom suite, and then coaches and I stay in a different suite. But all in all, we had such an incredible bonding. There were tears, there were smiles, there were hugging, and I can't explain what it does for not only the team, the community, as well as they see what we bring.
Yeah, well, that sounds like a lovely trip.
Oh, it was great.
I think, for our viewers who may not be really tuned in, women's softball is fast pitch.
Yes.
It's not the slow pitch that the guys play.
That's
trying
correct.
to hit the ball over the fence all the time.
That's correct. I would almost encourage those guys to come and try to hit off one of my pitchers. For sure.
Yes, it doesn't look like an easy thing to do.
No, it's not.
And I guess maybe I get off on a tangent, but I watch you folks practice occasionally in the gym, and the pitches seem like they have a lot of movement on them. And and you have to really just concentrate on making contact.
Oh yeah, yeah. We pitch from 43 feet, and the ball can come in at 60 miles an hour or better, and it's quick and impactful, and decisions have to be made now. I don't think people realize that it's difficult to hit a ball, especially with a curve ball or a drop ball. You've got to stay focused.
Do you have some good pitchers?
I do.
Okay, well, let's talk about them.
Okay.
Let's talk about the team. We got about 3 minutes left.
Okay. Kelsey Huffman is my #1 pitcher. She comes from Newberry, so up in the UP. So they know how to tough it out because they had that weather same way. She's gritty, and she loves the game. She actually is being recruited to move on. University of Michigan Dearborn would like to see her come and play with them. They happen to be in South Carolina.
Oh.
And so it was kind of neat for her and neat for the team just
Sure.
to see that, other people are watching, and there's still more if you want to. And which brings me to Taylor Searsma, who's the catcher, is my sophomore catcher, comes from Zeeland. So 2 girls come, and Zeeland's for the hand way down here.
Oh yeah, long ways
off. So 2 girls that come from opposite ends of our state here and come together, and both have such a passion and drive, and Taylor's so fundamental and just puts Kelsey at ease to pitch, and it sure does make a difference. And when they're connecting, it's incredible to watch. And for the team around them, they just want to work so hard for them and get every ball that they can, because they know the importance of what those 2 positions, are trying to do for them. So the girls all together appreciate that. And I have girls coming from a couple local girls, Alpena, Posen area. We also cover Harbor Springs across the way, down to Hazel Park, down by Detroit.
Wow.
Pine River. We've got, a vast area that we cover, and everybody is starting to know Alpena, I guess. So we're trying to get the name out there a little bit more and realize there still is a team up north that's fighting to play and still loves this game too. So we really enjoy it. The girls are incredible, and I can't say enough about their work ethic and their passion for the game.
Well, Coach Hance, thank you for coming and joining us and talking about your team. It's apparent to me that you have a deep understanding of softball and regard for this group of girls.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I thank you for your efforts.
Absolutely.
And thank you, folks, for watching Talk of the Town. If you have a chance, go watch our team play. And we will see you again next week.
This has been Talk of the Town with your host, Nancy Smitham and Dr. Don McMaster. For a list of community events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at wbkb11.com and click on our community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production.